You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Dean.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AFTERBUZZ TV's Hemlock Grove After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Hemlock Grove After Show.
Well, hello everybody. Welcome back to another amazing AFTERBUZZ TV after show for your favorite show, Hemlock Grove. We're on Season 2, Episode 2, Gone Sis. I am your host, Shano, and I am joined here by two lovely co-hosts of mine.
Hello everyone, I'm Marisa Serafini.
Hi guys, I'm JJ Jurgens.
And we just had such an awesome week last time, an awesome episode. And you know what? We're following it up with another great episode. Unfortunately, no cool, awesome guests in studio tonight.
I tried, I swear, guys, I really did.
I also wanted to do a little
busy.
celebration because of the awesome guests that you got. Well, two awesome guests last week, and it was also your birthday week. So I think we need to give a little shout out as I reach across the table.
What?
Yes, we need to give a, oh my gosh, fumble. There we go. And it's caught on my dress. That's fantastic.
No.
I guess I should have had you slide him close to me, Steven. Anyway,
okay.
little birthday cupcakes and love for you. I was going to get some bloody liver and things like that. I thought that would have been a little more appropriate for tonight, but I didn't know that you would eat it.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, JJ.
You're
That's
welcome.
very sweet.
Happy birthday.
Look at
Happy
that.
birthday,
These
Marissa.
are very delectable. I will try not to eat them during this after show. So,
Well,
very
that's
awesome.
That's great. Your birthday celebration this past weekend was pretty fun too.
It was, I gotta say, it was like probably the best birthday week ever in my entire life.
You haven't been talking about this on the other shows, have you?
Maybe.
Well, now I don't want to talk about it anymore.
Maybe. So, no, it's been great.
Oh, that's great. Well, happy birthday again
Yeah.
to you.
Thank you.
And what better way to celebrate a birthday week than by talking about bloody goodness with Hemlock Grove and Roman's appetite. I bet he'd love to eat those cupcakes and more.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe with tons of gooey blood all over them. Miranda Cates enters into our little disturbed play. Olivia quenches. Masked men again, and what's going on with those guys. And Dr. Price and what's going on with him. So let's go ahead and start by talking about Roman's wet appetite.
Wow. I just, again, like we talked last week a little bit about the visuals this year and how they were stunning last year, but they're even, so much more in depth this year. And there were so many times just so much blood on his face and just really getting in there.
I feel like the directors this season are like topping each other because there's so many different directors, and according to interviews and stuff, they're always like, how can I do this better than the last one? And let's add more gore, and it'll be more visceral and more crazy than the last episode.
Yeah, that's
and I
right.
feel like they're doing that.
Yeah, you're right, Marissa. He attacks a pimp right at the beginning of this episode, and at first when they're panning into the scene, I'm like, that looks like the Bates Motel.
Yeah, I think too.
Especially the neon sign is very much in the same kind of font and all that.
Exactly, and then there's prostitution going on there as well.
Of course.
Yeah, and again, I know last week the pussy bird was one of our favorite quotes. So I did write down again this week because one of my favorite ones was from the prostitute who says, "Pussy gets in a Trix car, pussy gets paid."
Oh,
Thought that was worth noting.
yeah. That's definitely worth noting.
Yeah.
Oh, so awesome.
And it was pretty funny too when he's talking with the manager, the pimp, yeah, sorry, and talking about the blood, what type he likes, and he's like an A type, like personality, blood type, yeah.
Yes, I love that. That's like
Clever.
Isn't that like it's clever? It's like good. So it's like tongue-in-cheek stuff, right?
It's very tongue-in-cheek
Yeah.
because we know as an audience that he's a oupir and he's craving blood, but from a regular standpoint, you know, a regular person be like, blood type, what, how are you interested? Like, well, what's the relevant to that? So I love how, you know, again, like you said, very tongue-in-cheek.
And about the pimp / manager, it's like, it's funny because he does look like a manager. He reminded me of Al Bundy.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah, the way he was dressed, and he had like the shaved head, balding. He didn't look like a pimp, right?
Yeah.
He wasn't the typical pimp, and it was just so fun.
Yeah.
Davey.
Davey.
That
His
was
name
the
was-
guy.
That's what his
Yeah.
name was? Oh,
Davey.
man. Yeah, so there, and I also thought it was interesting how there was porn going on in the background. And though I see like parallelism between what's going on in the TV set and what's going on with him, even afterwards, after he sinks his teeth into the pimp and he draws so much blood out of him, he smokes a cigarette afterwards. He's covered in blood. It's like he's covered in
It's like sex.
Yeah,
Sex,
it
it's-
climaxed.
Yeah, he climaxed pretty much.
He was satisfied.
Yeah, exactly right.
But I love the juxtaposition. I mean, it's so smart. And just in the film editing and storytelling, too, because it shows the parallelism with his feeding, that it is an ecstasy type of moment for him, and he loves it. It's that craving that he has. And also him mentioning like all the different types of blood, you know, it shows that how often he's been feeding, because he's been doing it a lot. Maybe we haven't seen it, but it's definitely growing.
Also, they're in this place that looks like a seedy motel. It's like really terrible looking porn that's on, right? It's like it's a guilty pleasure especially for him, right? Because who's he attacking? He's attacking people that are unsavory to society. Right? He's attacking pimps and prostitutes, people like girls who are like sluts over at the dance floor at the local club, right? So he can't do anything that's too overt and too obvious. He has to do it all behind the scenes, and it's a guilty pleasure for him too.
Yeah, it's like a modern day Upir Jack the Ripper.
Yeah.
/ Dexter. I had to get the Dexter in there.
And did the pimp live?
I didn't think so, but I guess I don't know.
I think she did.
I think the pimp, not
the
prostitute.
guy.
Davey.
Yeah, the
Davey.
dude, Davey.
I thought he was dead.
So did I.
But when we see him like go put the cloth back over the wound,
the
his
pill.
hand was actually, you know, Davey's hand was actually holding it. So I'm like, maybe he is still alive.
Yeah, that's what I
go
thought too.
back.
I caught that the first time I watched it. And the second time I watched it, I was like, okay, I confirmed it. It looks like he put his hand up there, and I'm unsure. Like maybe they left it in there to like let us think, you know, that through editing they're like, oh, let's leave that in there. It's kind of cool because it's like unclear if he dies or not. It's vague, right? Maybe he didn't kill him. He just like viciously attacked him. He put the pillowcase on his neck to stop the bleeding, so maybe the guy could actually survive.
Yeah.
However, it did look like it was a lot of blood.
Well, and that's where he's going to have to be careful because, like Olivia was talking about, him being, you know, not being cautious. So if he does not kill people like that, then he could really be ruining things for their family and for himself.
And it also shows that there is still humanity left within Roman for letting people still live, not just viciously killing. He's only doing it to, you know, satisfy his own hunger needs. So it shows that there's still good in him because he's not just viciously killing people.
Yeah, he's doing it out of an urge, like a basic instinct, an animalistic instinct. He's not doing it out of, he's not doing it because he hates the people. He has some kind of rage towards them. It's pretty much just because he needs to feed. And that's what he's got in his DNA and his blood, and that's how he is. But I feel like the pimp did live, and
I'd like to think so.
All right.
yeah, I hope he did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd like to see more Davey.
Oh, and what could he do anyway? Oh, some dude attacked me in my house of
Right.
prostitution.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In my
Good point.
in my brothel. No, there's no way he would ever turn to
He
the
kind
cops.
of had it
point.
coming.
He did. He was a bastard. So, additionally, during the episode, everything is just way too cooked to Roman, right? He gets brought the food. He snaps on the girl, the assistant who brings it to him is like, why is this overcooked? And it already looks like it's raw, right?
Yeah.
It's like, I'll eat it
Yeah.
anyways.
And his mom, was that the same scene that his mom paid him the visit to?
Yes.
Yes. So Olivia paid him the visit. She revealed more about him being Upir, right? And how the hunger is just going to keep getting worse and worse and worse. And this is the first time that she's really talked about it with him on scene openly. throughout the whole series.
Yeah, and it also shows like how she has managed to satisfy her hunger needs throughout all these centuries too, for however long that she's been alive for, because she's mentioned that it's only she kept doing it for years, and she had to hide the bodies, and then she married into the Godfrey Institute to have Dr. Price help her hide the bodies and like cover up all the deaths that she has who was responsible for. So I thought that was very interesting, because she's experienced, and now she's trying to teach Roman, hey, you're going to be killing a lot more people, but you have to also cover up your tracks because it's going to eventually lead up to you.
I thought it was also interesting, like his responses back to her about how that he doesn't want to progress, that he wants to be human, and I thought that was interesting because I think since he is so, his character has a side of him that is so arrogant and smart ass and stuff. You would think that part of him would maybe start to kind of get off on this power and really enjoy it and really like it. So I thought it was interesting to see that he really deep down doesn't want that and would give anything to not have her be his mom and not be a part of all this. So I thought that was interesting.
That's a really good point you bring up, JJ, because he said that line. It really has a dual meaning to it. I don't want to be your son is like he hates his mother, number one, and number two, he doesn't want to be Upir, but he just didn't say it that way. It's so cool how vague they are with the language they use sometimes, because it allows us as the audience, as the viewers, as the super fans, to draw different conclusions, and I really like that about the show. I like how it's so vague. Like even something as simple as Olivia walking into the room during the episode. We're going to talk about Olivia later, but her walking into the room with Price and walking out, what the hell did they do?
Right?
Yeah.
We don't know. And watching that episode, of course you want to watch the next episode to find out, or the subsequent episodes, but you're just like, what happened?
Well, and because her facial expression was just like, she just hit the mother load. She was so, like her eyes, which was great because it was subtle, but it said so much in that moment. That, I'm with you. Like, I'm like, no, wait, I want to see this. What was it?
And also her personality changed, not just the face, but because from the leading episode to that, she was very cold and, worried about Roman. And then at the end of it, she's praising Roman and obviously somewhat delusional and have all these beliefs like, yes, he's the best son, we worked everything out. And obviously that's not the case. Something's affecting her.
Yeah.
So what happened in that so-called treatment?
Yes.
Air quote.
Or snack.
Snack.
And
Probably.
even Price says to her in the elevator while they're going up, he's like, are you sure the treatment didn't make you somewhat delusional in some way? Or so he was throwing out all these terms. It was like, yeah, man, she had a 180 almost on her attitude.
Yeah.
So Roman ends up later getting the horse. And I guess he's going one leg up from the leeches, right? More than a leg up.
Yeah, a very expensive leg
It
up.
cost him how much millions?
Like 1.3 million.
1.3 million for a horse.
A beautiful racehorse.
Beautiful racehorse.
Beautiful dreamer.
That made me sad.
Beautiful dreamer. Another allusion to dreaming that we have in the show, because we got Roman and Peter both having these crazy dreams that are like premonitions, right? And then we got we have the horse called Beautiful Dreamer that's just this black stallion, right?
Yep. Black Beauty.
A Black Beauty.
I noticed the name Beautiful Dreamer with the subtitles. It was spelled Dreemer.
Oh.
So I wonder why they changed the lettering. Maybe it was just because it was an animal name. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe
It
a
might be.
lot of race horses they get spelled the same way too often, so they probably changed it to make it look differently.
Yeah,
That's
maybe.
like they probably tried to make it as realistic as possible, and it's like, okay, it sounds the same but it looks different.
Yeah, it's
right?
close enough to make you think.
Yes.
Absolutely.
That there's definitely symbolism behind that name. Yeah. But he would rather spend, that's another testament to Roman's humanity, is that he would rather spend $1.3 million on a horse and suck that thing dry than to kill people. Right?
Well, he has the money, so he can right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, showing he still has humanity left within him.
I wonder how many meals that averaged out to for him. Was it just the one, or can he cut up the parts and like spread it out a little bit?
But also that we did get that short story before that when he was talking. We'll get to it when he was talking to Miranda and saying when he grew up, they used to have horses, but Olivia had them all slaughtered.
So she must have done it too.
Olivia used to do it, and now he's doing it. So he's going through exact same things Olivia used to do. All this feeding.
He's going to have to learn on his own just like she did, I guess, right?
Yeah. And well, that's why she wants to help. She knows what it's like.
Yeah. Wow, I must say, before we go on to the next topic, that this season is exponentially better than the last season of Hemlock Grove. And it's just like, we've been with the characters and the actors, and the story's developed, number one. We've gotten rid of the exposition pretty much, so we don't have to deal with all that bull crap back there, right? But we can dive into the characters more. We also know how they're going to act and react to different things. So and the actors have such better experience playing these characters now. They've done away with things that they don't need, and the writers are able to focus more in on certain parts of the characters, like things about Dr. Price that we never got to see before. We'll probably talk about this more later, but Joel de la Fuente, his acting job with Dr. Price is amazing.
Yeah.
He is so much better now. It must be all those one-man shows that he's doing.
It must be.
And I love his character now. Before, I thought he was just like, oh, it's some creepo doctor. And when we interviewed him, he even told us in the interview that they saw when they were casting, they saw his interview or one of his things on YouTube, like a YouTube video, and they're like, whoa, this guy's so weird, he has to play Price. And he's beyond that now. He's like, so I really enjoy his acting. And Landon Liboirne playing Peter and Roman, and that brings us to Miranda Cates. She's brand spanking new, but I really like her. I don't even know who the actress is that plays her. Do you know? Does anybody know?
Madeline Brewer, who plays Miranda. She was also in Orange is the New Black, another Netflix original.
Oh, yeah! She was that girl in season 1 that died.
Yes, that hung herself. So if you die in a Netflix original, good chances you might be resurrected on another Netflix original. I mean, hey, that's great career for you.
You know what? She had like her septum pierced there too, right? Oh my God, that is so funny. And she had a lot of tattoos also. Of course, she's a girl in jail.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's so great that she's on the show. I like her.
I mean, she's great, and she did add a lot to this episode too, especially being a link to Roman and Peter.
Again, just like Letha, they're falling in love with the same blonde woman. Oh my gosh. So the way she comes in, it looks like she just had a breakup with a boyfriend, right? She almost gets run off the road. She turns down a darker road, right? And she almost gets killed again. But then there's that ellipse. There's that huge ellipse where it's like, why would someone run into you and then just let you go? And then she goes to Roman's house, and it kind of reminded me of like Clockwork Orange. It reminded me of Clockwork Orange with how people just randomly, the main characters, the bad guys, they end up at that rich guy's house. Miranda Cates ends up at this rich guy's house in the middle of nowhere, right? And it's just such an interesting way to introduce the character, but at the same time, everything's so vague. We don't know much about her. She's telling us everything. She's telling Roman everything about herself, and we don't know what really happened. Like, is she involved with the masked men in some way? Were they trying to attack her with the truck?
That's where my mind went to.
Yeah.
I thought it was them.
I mean, you would think so, because she, obviously a new person to Hemlock Grove. She's never been to this town before. But then someone's already tracking her down, trying to kill her. And she's brand new to the area, so it seems like she's connected in some way, too. She has history with whoever's doing all this. She's involved.
Yeah, she's got to be involved somehow, and I like how they do that with Hemlock Grove. Like last time, we had Christina Wendell playing, Christina Wendell. Was that the character's name?
That was character name.
Yes.
Freya Tingley.
Freya Tingley. We had Christina Wendell, her character. She was with us from the beginning of the season, and we had we kind of had like an inclination that there was something going on, right, with the white hair.
Yeah.
And then eventually it got to the point where it's like, oh yeah, there's something really up with her. She's really weird. She's probably the Vargolf, and she turned out to be that, right? So do you guys think it's going to be that same way with Miranda Cates, perhaps?
I mean, I definitely think so. I mean, they have to introduce a new person because we killed off so many people last season. So I think anyone new, we should be suspicious of, like, something's gonna happen.
One thing I caught that I wondered is they, focused on her tattoos on her back, and it was the bird tattoo. And the same scene, the same episode, we see the bird that had crashed into Olivia's greenhouse, and then she, like, at one point, like, scoots, pushes the bird, like, off, out of her way. So that kind of was like, ooh, is she going to be somebody that's kind of going to be fighting against, Olivia?
Ooh, against Olivia. You don't want to mess with Olivia, especially in her emotional states now.
Heck yes. I mean, it's interesting because we have so many bird references throughout these all these episodes, and we're still speculating what's the symbolism of all that. Even the type of bird that crashed into the window, it looked like a red-headed woodpecker, or
red-headed finch, maybe.
Finch, maybe. I mean, but even the symbolism of why a bird, why not any other kind of creature that Olivia, found.
Why not a bat?
That'd
be too obvious.
But like,
Deer, bat, bloodsucker.
But all the birds, all the birds in this show is fascinating that they picked this particular animal.
Yeah, and JJ, back to that one, the tattoos that you were talking about on Miranda Cates' back, that reminded me, and I don't know if there's a connection or much of an illusion, but it looked like rolling pigeons to me. But then also that connected me to, like, starlings that are, like, rolling or falling out of the sky, and I'm like, ooh, that's like Agent Starling and Hannibal Lecter in Silence of the Lambs, and that whole conversation they had in his prison cell. So I don't know, it's just like so many allusions to things. It's like, what does it really mean?
And aren't starling birds usually together in a flock? Usually, aren't they? There's more than one. I don't know. There's like what we call a flock of, how there's flock of pigeons, there's starling of this type of bird.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, yeah, it could be. Maybe she's not alone.
Maybe there's more.
And maybe that's what that symbolism is. Because we don't know, hey, she's got a cell phone. Who's she calling all the time? Other than the tow truck place and, right?
Who knows?
Yeah, so she really digs Roman's art. She's an artistic girl. She said she wants to be a writer.
Did you notice Roman's art, though? The Ouroboros ring?
I didn't notice the Ouroboros. Where was that?
There was one in the living room when they're sitting on the couch. And there's a big painting in the back, but it's a big circled ring. Definitely, a vague version of Ouroboros.
Oh, I didn't notice that one. Good eye. I just saw the rat that was on, like, the mountaintop, spiral mountaintop or something. It wasn't on that, was it?
No.
Okay.
But there was an individual portrait of just, like, a circled type of painting.
Well, he's definitely still got that in his mind from last time, and it's still on the symbol for Hemlock Grove when you start up the show.
Yeah.
Right. So there's still got to be, well, later on in the series, Ouroboros is alluded to by Dr. Price. He mentions the program name again.
And we still don't really know the program, like all the details, because that's still very vague to us too.
And we got. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, she also, I thought it was interesting when she was talking to him about the poet that she liked. And she described about how the poet created this character who was arrogant, cunning, cold on the outside, but on the inside was burning with rage. Yeah. So I thought that was pretty much,
Lord Byron.
Him in Roman in a nutshell.
Yeah, that's totally him. He wants to keep everybody away from him. That's why he's locked up in his mansion by himself. He doesn't want to hurt anybody, and he just is hungry all the time. And he loves very hard too. Like, he must love this baby to keep the baby around, right? So he looks at Miranda with those eyes, and it's like
piercing.
Yeah.
They're so piercing. They're just like staring into her soul. Like, his eyes are like capturing everything about her because they're so big. And I'm not sure if he loves her or if he looks at her as prey right now. Maybe both.
Maybe. I mean, I believe we saw in this episode that, when there was like the close-up on her neck, and you can definitely tell he's thinking about it, that he really wants to just go after this girl. But, I think, a new character. I mean, we got to explore more of her character before anything happens.
Yeah, I kind of read it as he, not just prey, that he was definitely like attracted to her, and that's why he didn't just like go for it when he was that close to her, neck and stuff. But we shall see.
Yeah, and she is, in a way, she's like a drifter, right? She's someone who just like randomly comes into his life. She even says that she's coming from somewhere else, right? Like Virginia or something. So he could very well kill her, drain her body of blood, satiate his appetite, and then guess what? Boom, chuck her somewhere and she's gone and he doesn't have any more need from her. But he does have an infatuation with her other than wanting to eat her, right?
And they actually do have a lot of similarities, because when they were in the stable, they were talking about, their past, and Roman was saying that he used to travel a lot with his mother, and then we know that Miranda was an army brat, so she traveled a lot with her family, and then,
She said she was in Germany with her family,
in Germany,
right? And
so,
doing dirt bikes.
They both, and I found it funny how she rode dirt bikes and he and Roman rode horses, so, we have a more elegant, graceful type of upbringing compared to her, a more tomboyish, I guess, type of upbringing. But they do have a lot of similarities.
And we see him too watching her when she showers, and I felt that was just such a longing look, and just almost afraid, wanting to get close to her, but afraid to get close to her and keeping his distance back there and just watching her.
Slightly creepy, though.
Yes, it was.
Slightly creepy. I think she's definitely the cutest young girl that they've had on Hemlock Grove so far. Especially with her tattoos. Those are really interesting looking. And they're like all over her back and her arms, her shoulders, the septum being pierced. It's so interesting. She's interesting to look at.
Yeah, she is.
Once she's derobed. Either way, clothed or derobed. She's great to look at, and she's a great actress.
Yeah, and I think the tattoos probably have a bigger meaning. There's more symbolism there, because Hemlock Grove, they're not going to just show us one little thing and not have it just be trivial. There's probably something more to that.
And they took the time to kind of pan it too, so I think there definitely will be meaning behind there.
They did. There's a lot of symbolism, and I actually, I noticed something too. We know that Eli Roth, he's the executive producer. He's also friends with Tarantino. Am I right? He's been in some of Tarantino's films, including *Inglourious Bastards*. I'm thinking he has a lot of say in how they shoot these episodes, because they focused on such small details like that, just panning down or going over her body with the tattoos to really give us, the audience, an eyeful. It's not just there for 1 second, it's there for 5-10 seconds, and then we do little things like Dr. Price, he's in his lab, he touches the hand sanitizer. It's totally close up on the hand sanitizer and him rubbing his hands. Quentin Tarantino loves to do those kinds of shots with little details like filling a glass with beer, or looking at someone's chest with the sweat dripping on it and you're about to plunge a syringe into it, little things, little details like that. It's you can see the connection between artists and producers like Eli Roth and Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah.
Pretty fascinating stuff. So Olivia, let's talk about her.
Alrighty.
And you know what? Before we get to her, I just wanted to mention to our fans and followers, go ahead and check us out on YouTube and just search AFTERBUZZ TV Hemlock Grove, and go ahead and give us some comments there on our videos. So we post our videos. What does it take? Is it just the next day, 24 hours?
At least 2 to 3 hours.
2 to 3 hours.
We're up pretty fast.
That's good. So give us some comments. We have a lot of comments that we're going to read out later during the news and gossip section. But also check us out on iTunes. Give us 5 stars, and we deserve it. So give us some comments, you guys. And for those of you who already comment, thank you guys so much. We're going to be reading out some shout outs later on to you.
Tell us things if we missed too, or things that you catch that we may have gotten wrong, or things you want to hear us talk about, because we do read them and love to talk about.
Yeah, and tell us about if you love the new season. I mean, we are back for more, and more people to come.
That's right. So you can hit us up on the comments. You can also hit us up our Twitter accounts. I'm at Sean Austin O on Twitter. And anybody else want to read out their Twitter real quick?
I'm at JJ Jurgens.
And I'm at Serafini TV.
So Olivia shows a lot of human conscience and a lot of emotion, especially towards Roman this episode. And we know, I don't want to talk about it too much, but it's gonna it's going to be alluded to later on, and the reasoning behind that's going to become more prevalent, which is actually kind of crazy. And Marissa knows what I'm talking about. Do you want to talk about? Can we just like broach it a little bit, just like a little tease?
You go for it, yeah.
Yeah. So pretty much, there's something up with her physiology, JJ, and her physiology is changing as an Upir, and that's why she's gonna be more emotional and less cold.
Interesting. All right.
Yeah. And
It's pretty fascinating.
Dr. Price has a hand in that.
Yes, he does.
But I love how they're building that more humanistic side of her too, because we're getting a lot more backstory with her. And even there was a moment, and not to jump ahead or anything, but there was a moment when Roman was saying, Olivia was mentioning like she had a dream about Roman. And it was, when Roman was younger, and it was the blood, but it said it was red frosting. And then we find out from last episode, Roman said that Olivia has never ever cooked or baked for him. And then we hear today's episode that she made a cake. And it's like, so it shows that really she has humanistic qualities to her.
She does. There wasn't too much else because we already talked about a lot of stuff about Olivia. Was there anything else other than that scene with her and Roman and talking about the appetite? Was there anything about the bird crash, other than the bird crashing? And
she goes to that lab, in that lab basement there. And what was that prop that she stuck her cane in?
Okay, that.
Oh, that was so glad you brought that up. That was hilarious.
Some organ that was like just scooting across the floor.
Yeah, those were like tumors or something, right? Living tumors.
That's one of the things, though, I think that I'm loving about this episode, because like you said, the comments that they're getting, like with the writing between the characters, but there's little moments of comedy that I think we didn't really see in the first season, and I'm really enjoying those.
And especially from her character, too. You wouldn't think that there'd be some of that kind of slapstick humor, but it's coming from her, which is very surprising.
Yeah, and who was that? What was up with that doctor? She's brand new, right?
Yeah.
Russian.
A fresh new hire from...
Never trust the Russian doctors.
Yes. Yeah. I just love it. I love their accents.
I mean, I think it's interesting how they're bringing this Russian interesting woman doctor in, to kind of foil Dr. Price's, because we have his character from last season, full stop on all these, saying all the technical research that he's doing throughout the episodes. But now we have her that's saying all the technical stuff that's happening, and Dr. Price is the one that's checking in on all the experiments.
Yeah, and interesting, too, that she's not fearful of Olivia at all. I think last season we're used to Olivia having so much power and everybody kind of like always, being fearful of her, and she just right away was like, no, you don't own the lab anymore. You used to, and like, this is pretty ballsy to stand up to her right away like that.
Yeah, it was pretty neat. Since we're already talking about Dr. Price in the lab, but let's continue talking about him. So... the Russian doctor, even though she's able to converse with him, did anybody get her name? I don't even remember the character's name.
I did not get her.
We'll try and get it for next time. Or maybe our fans and followers, they can tweet it at us. But I feel like even though she's able to converse with the technical jargon that Price throws around, she is also kind of roadblocking him on some things. Like she says, "Oh, are you sure we are going to do this or do that?" And so it kind of seems like before he almost did whatever he wanted to behind the scenes, and who knows what he's been doing with his research, but he brings her in. So in a way, he's able to progress a little bit more. But then in another way, she also questions him a lot, and we're definitely going to see more of that later on in the series as the season progresses. But he takes Olivia for that snack. Right? And she comes out happy as a clam.
Euphoric. Dissociative euphoria.
Yeah. And that's it. It was dissociative, euphoric, like euphoria, something like that, right? Let's see, was there anything else? I just love, I talked about the little touches here on my notes, but let's go ahead and start talking about, let's talk about the masked men. So there was a big important scene with them this time, and it wasn't, they ended up killing somebody, but it wasn't like what they were trying to do. It wasn't what they were doing in the last episodes, where before it was like they were really doing like a kill. Like they were going into somebody's house, they purposefully turn off the pilot light, put a candle in there, let the gas on to make it look like an accident. this time someone stumbled upon what they were doing in the forest, right?
Yeah.
Why does it always have to be a bum? Seriously?
Some random guy. But it looked more of an initiation type of blessing because he was anointing him, spraying or like sprinkling him with whatever, I imagine, oil or some kind of thing, which makes me think of like Order of the Dragon from like season 1.
Yes. It makes me think about that too. Maybe they're taking over. Maybe the priest is like throwing some people into the mix over there on that side, trying to disrupt Hemlock Grove in some way.
Yeah, but it looked like an initiation.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and it sounded like they were speaking Latin, something like that. It reminded me of like Eyes Wide Shut. That kind of like a ritualistic ceremony they got going on there. But it was just 2 people. So it was just that guy, like the guy anointing, and there was a guy who was receiving. Gosh, it sounds so bad. And
Well, one was on his knees.
yes, one was on his knee. They even turned too when the bum was like, "Hey, what are you doing?" He turns like he kind of like peeks out like it was perfect. Like,
Oh, I know.
Situation, right?
I mean, come on, you guys, you thought about it too. Mind out of the gutter. All right, here we go.
And they piano wired the bum when it looked like he was getting away, and he just gushed all over the dude, and it was like the dude was being ejaculated on. Am I right?
Yeah.
He was getting a facial of blood.
Shower. He embraced that. He was totally showered with blood.
Totally. And that was probably like a baptism by blood. Maybe they were like anticipating like, hey, somebody is going to maybe not like come upon them, but they were going to, that sounded bad too, but that they were going to maybe try to find somebody, and they were going to do the same thing with piano wiring them or slitting their throat, and that would be another part of the initiation to like bathe the new person in blood. But who knows, man? We're just like speculating here.
Yeah.
So much.
There's so much what's going on. Peter's visions obviously connected to these masked men because he's seeing like their crimes before they happen.
And we see Destiny try to get into the vision. We had a big scene with Destiny.
Yeah, I want to definitely talk about that tonight, how crazy that transformation she went through was.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
she always asks for spit, doesn't she? Right? In like her in her little like serums and spells that she does. So this time, so I think last time, was it Roman or did Peter spit in the jar with the worm that was in it? Somebody spit in it. Or did she?
We used like DNA.
I think she's
DNA of
a dead corpse.
yeah.
Yeah, but you know what? I think she spit in it. It's been a while since I've seen
Yeah, I
it.
can't.
But this time Peter spits in it, and he's like, "Oh, gross! You're so nasty. Oh, relax, we're cousins."
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Chug, chug.
it's funny, but that's the psychological thing too. When you say the actual word spit, that's a negative connotation. So, but if you say a different word,
Spitting image.
yeah, or something, but like the word spit gives off a negative connotation. So when you see someone else drink spit, we're automatically turned off by that. But yeah, nasty.
But it's a really if you drink spit and it's or you swap spit with somebody, it's a really intimate thing.
Yeah.
She needed that from him to like get in his mindset, I guess, and get into her like soothsayer, fortune teller mode, and. With this time, it's another thing with a worm, right? Or like a serpent this time,
That
right?
was like black
Yeah,
snake
snakes.
Yeah.
and torrent of water. That's why they went into the bathtub, because all water is connected.
Yep. Even if it's not, it's like that's just the way it is, right? With
Yeah.
with
Just
her.
the way they did it, the visual again, to me was just so awesome. Just to watch her veins just get all black and then, come through her face. I love how the show does those things.
Yeah, but even the symbolism of serpent, I mean, evil and the devil, and so there's so many bad connotations to that, and so black serpent, something's evil, evil's brewing.
Yeah, and the way that she was just acting in that scene, it was great because you couldn't tell if her screams and moans were we know that because we see what's going on, like the serpent going around her, it's probably painful, but at the same time, it could sound like ecstasy a little bit, like a little bit of pleasure, and even Peter was responding like, oh, hey, I know we share everything, but what's going on?
Yeah.
Oversharing right now. And then she starts to have more of like that, ouch, it's painful, something's happening, and she throws up the black goo. right? And
Black goo.
black
Or
goo.
black tar.
And this is the
something.
looked like tar, right? This is the second time she's thrown up in 2 seasons, right?
Yeah. And she did say, Dio did say, hey, I throw up again.
Yeah. So, but this time she had to be resuscitated by Peter. And man, if she didn't get resuscitated, she probably wouldn't have came back.
Yeah, she almost died.
Yeah, she almost died.
So
and
she says.
and she doesn't want to have anything to do with whatever visions he's seeing, right?
Yeah, and she's telling Peter to completely forget about these dreams, ignore them, banish them from your mind.
Yeah, so he sees the Gone Sis thing. We don't know what that is, but we see a bunch of other things. He starts sketching them, and she's like, what did I tell you? I don't want you to be doing that anymore. And Andres comes in, and he's like, you dog, you gypsy dog. I love him.
I like him too. He's a
cool.
good addition. I love their scene when he just goes to see her, at the house, the open scene when she jumps on him and
Yeah.
stuff. I'm like, oh, they're so cute to watch.
Oh, there's my orange creamsicle.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's so good.
Definitely comedic relief, which we definitely need. Some levity in such hard-hitting episodes.
It's perfect for them to bring him in because he adds more information. Later on, he adds more muscle. Like, there's so many aspects about him that they needed, and now they have it. Because Peter, in his frail form, his human form, he's not the most muscular guy, right? He's a really thin dude, but when he, breaks out as a wolf, he's damn powerful and damn scary, right?
Right.
Destiny, she's a soothsayer, but she's not strong either. She just knows how to tell, not necessarily tell the future, but give
She's
clues.
intuitive.
Yeah, she's intuitive. But Andres, he observes the world because he has more experience than young Peter, who's only 18 years old, and he doesn't know too much about the world in some ways. Andres knows about this one random place. Oh, that's where the Gaunt sisters are from. It's Wagon Oasis. Go over there.
Yeah.
And then that's where we go there, and that's with Peter, and that's the end of the episode for him. But it was just really, really fascinating scenes with the snakes and Ouroboros illusions and stuff here in Hemlock Grove. And
more about another little detail in Dr. Price's office. We see more, artwork in his room, and there was a painting that was completely blue, just like the color that we always see in Hemlock Grove, but there was a big red spot in the middle of that blue painting, which was interesting. And then there was another one where that had two, I don't know, it looks like some chromosome, some DNA type of thing. There's 2 of them. I don't know. Sorry, I'm looking under rocks here. I find it fascinating, just the little details that we see, but we don't really think about.
yeah,
And then, we also see Marie tonight.
we do. We get to see Lori Fortier.
Lori Fortier.
Well, and interesting, we see Olivia actually jealous of her, which she usually hadn't been in the past. And
Yeah, that's right.
Human qualities.
yep.
And human qualities are
Even,
surfacing.
Norman even said, you weren't jealous of her when we were married,
She's threatening now.
Oh my gosh. It's just so fascinating, and then things are gonna happen next time. Things are gonna happen.
Well, Marie's suing the industry. Godfrey Industries.
She's suing Godfrey Industries, and at first Norman doesn't want to do anything about it because he's like, you know what they're gonna do? They're gonna make Letha look bad. They're gonna drag her through the mud, and they're gonna drag us through the mud. But he ultimately supports his ex-wife because she supports him. She cares about him. She saw good in him, even though they're apart.
Right, but we also see Norman's fed up with the Godfrey Industries too, because we know that he sold his stocks. So he's trying to segregate himself from Godfrey Industries. So in a way, Norman and Marie are kind of on the same side, but he's being a little bit more rational on how she's trying to approach this lawsuit now.
Yeah,
And so we see him confront Price about it.
we do.
Yeah.
He has that little scene where is he sitting in Price's office again?
Yeah.
Like he usually
Yep.
does.
Yeah.
Everybody likes to pee on Price. Everybody loves to because he pisses so many people off, right? And what was the conversation they had again? I don't really recall too much.
He just kind of said that that he was gonna file the suit against him.
Yeah, and they were also talking that because we had Letha's body cremated, that the evidence is gone because there was no. Price said that she died of a pulmonary embolism.
That's right.
He's not. Norman's not believing that, and he said there was no proper EKG and like angiogram.
And
so,
of course,
like,
Price he was responding like,
Yeah.
"Oh, because of this happened, I did it myself."
Yeah. So Norman's kind of speculating that there was a cover up, something else went down. But because they cremated the body, they can't tell anymore.
No, they
He
can't.
tells him to get ready for a shitstorm.
That's right, a subpoena shitstorm.
Yep.
It was so
Subpoena.
so good, so good. Well, if there's not, is there anything else that we want to add about any other topics that we didn't get
I think
to cover?
that was all I had.
Yeah. No, it was a great episode.
Let's go ahead and move into our news and gossip.
AfterBuzz TV News.
Aw, I missed the. Was that supposed to be kablamo in there?
Yeah,
I missed that. I
explosion.
missed the explosion time for the news. Well, anyway, let's go ahead and talk about our comments from our awesome fans and followers first. So, from our YouTube channel, we actually had quite a few, but I'm going to single out some awesome ones. Glamored by Eric. He said, plus Roman didn't wash his hands after peeing and touched Price before leaving the room, further pissing on him. That was great. It's like the first episode was so fantastic, and like we were talking about today, everybody loves to pee on Price,
Yep.
but no one can do anything about him. People just keep trying to stop him. People shove him up against walls. People grab him by the collar, and Price keeps doing what he's doing still. We also had Ron Price. Oh, and in relation to Dr. Price, Ron said, "Love this podcast. Great job, guys." Or just great job, rather. So thanks for that
Thanks.
comment. And additionally, we had Jay Winchester. He had a lengthy comment, actually, but this is great. I love watching these podcasts and hearing about all the different ways you guys have about you guys have about each character. You've really made me see so many different scenes in a whole new light. Keep up the good work, guys. And please, could you try to get Bill or Landon on the show? I would love to hear their views on certain storylines. Thanks again, guys.
Yeah, we are going to try really hard to get them on. So,
We're
yeah, it's our
working on
goal.
it.
Yes, that is our goal. Hey, Marisa was awesome enough to get 2 awesome stars last
Yeah.
week. She got Famke Johnson in here, who plays Olivia,
Yeah.
and she interviewed her one-on-one. You guys should check out that interview. Check it out on the AfterBuzz TV app, which you can download on Android Marketplace Play Store or the iTunes Store. Additionally,
Yeah.
or at the App Store.
Yep.
So, yeah, those are great comments. Did anybody have any news and gossip?
Yeah, following up on that, if you want to see another great interview, you can see Famke's video. It was on CBC News. So if you just Google that today, she does a little video clip that you can watch and enjoy. But she also talks about kind of her character a little bit more. And one of her quotes where she says, "I think at the core of most women who are mothers is this urge to, no matter what it takes, you protect your child. I mean, that's sort of a given, and it's what everybody can relate to." So she just really talks about what she enjoys that character and how she thinks that some of the juiciest roles for people are in TV these days and not film, which is very interesting coming from somebody who has such a great film career. So I think it's just that she enjoys the show so much, and what they do. So check that out. It's a nice little article and interview.
She was a Bond girl. She
Yeah.
was Jean Grey on
Jean
X-Men, and now she's Olivia Godfrey on Hemlock Grove.
I mean,
This is in everybody's contemporary mind. This is who they're going to think of for this generation now.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Famke's amazing. But we have another interview, actually, with the one and only Lori Fortier. She did an interview on Fangoria, and she just talks about, her character Marie in the second season because everyone's back. But she said that they're going to be exploring more of the darker side of Marie this season and her character because of all the character growth. Because season 1, she was more the motherly, nurturing type of character. But now we see her, taking on Godfrey Industries with this lawsuit going on. So we're going to see more emotional, darker tones of her character. And then she also just talking about Chick Egley, who's, the new executive producer that's stood in this season. She said about his work that he's very visual, visceral director and type of producer, so that he brings that to the table of season 2. And then also, she just talks about working with David Strayton again, who's also now an executive producer on Hemlock Grove. And so she said she loves the consistency among all the different directors, because some of the directors now for season 2 they haven't directed television, they've directed film. So now working with the more of the filmmaking aspect for a television show is, it's great working and learning in that aspect as well.
Great.
Very interesting interview. Check it out on Fangoria.
They pretty much make every episode like a movie, so it's like a 13-episode movie that we're watching, and I love it.
Yeah.
I love that they don't have to make them. It's so fast-paced, like so many movies are, and they can, like I talked about earlier, we can focus in on little shots that are like 5 seconds, 10 seconds long, and they just have such great scenes together. I love it. Well, let's go. Let's go ahead and move into our predictions, perhaps.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Flashy lights.
Creepy.
So I think I ruined it for myself by not writing my predictions after this episode immediately, and I'm going to do that for the next episodes. Or rather, after episode 5, I'll make it more original. But right now, let's just say Roman's hunger will increase, and he will kill Miranda. Maybe he's going to hurt her, perhaps, next episode. Him and Peter, they're definitely going to have a love triangle with Miranda. I can already feel it. And I really felt this one before. I really felt it before the other episodes. She definitely reminds me of Letha. So there's that connection there.
They have a type.
Yes.
They have a type. They have a blonde hair, blue-eyed type. Clearly. Petite, skinny little girl, only she's not a nice girl like Letha was. Letha was very innocent, very naive, and we got this girl who looks like her, but she's like the opposite in a lot of ways too. We will see those creeps who bought the drugs rather, come back wanting their money, and we're gonna have a special guest next time that we're going to interview, thanks to Marisa.
Yay.
Yeah,
Right?
that we do.
What are your guys' predictions?
I didn't have too many because I'm the same as you. I need to write them right down. But I think the main one was just that I thought that the bird was going to have I thought her tattoos were going to lead to that Miranda and Olivia are going to be squaring off at some point in this season.
Oh.
I will withhold my predictions because I kind of know what's going to go on. So it would not be fair if I said anything right now.
You're boring. Come on, tease us. Give us a tease.
I will tease that we do have a special guest next
Yay.
week.
Okay, very good.
Look forward to that.
All right. Well, I think that about does it for us here at AfterBuzz TV's Hemlock Grove podcast. But be sure to join us next week because we're going to be having a special guest over the phone, right?
Over the phone, we have Lori Fortier.
Lori Fortier.
Marie Godfrey herself.
Marie Godfrey. We had her in studio last time. Loved it. Love Lori Fortier. We should tweet at her after this show tonight to just to like get the
We're
Twitter
ready for ya.
Just to get the Twitter flowing with her.
Absolutely.
Love her. Anyway, be sure to give us a follow, guys. You can follow me at Sean Austin O on Twitter and Instagram.
And I'm at JJ Jurgens on Twitter and Jurgens JJ on Instagram.
And you can follow me on Twitter and on Instagram at Serafini TV. Tweet us the questions that you have for Marie, for Lori, and about her character for next week.
Thanks so much, guys. We'll buzz with you next week.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
Thank you for watching AfterBuzz TV on YouTube. For more of your favorite after shows and interviews, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion on the episode in the comment section below here. We'd love to see what you guys are buzzing about. Thanks again. Buzz you later.